$500, the winner shares of today's game, and a guarantee, I think, of $16,000 whether they win or lose at the Super Bowl. So it was worth showing up for.
Third down and 1. And another first down. The Vikings will keep the ball. Benny Barnes came up and put the final stop on it, along with Cliff Harris. But Reed got the first down. CBS will resume its coverage of the NBA next weekend. Sunday at 2:30 Eastern Time, the Phoenix Suns and the Chicago Bulls. You'll be doing that one, Pat.
Along with Hot Rod Hundley and Elgin Baylor.
Not only on Sunday afternoons on CBS, but some Saturday afternoons and some evening games through the end of the playoffs. That's the NBA on CBS. You can see the best in basketball on the #1 network. There's Calvin Hill. Had to be a dreadful day for him. Laid up with a dislocated elbow. A very untimely injury. And the Vikings, obviously pleased with what they've accomplished. They beat a good Washington team. And they beat a good Dallas team here this afternoon. 1:58 remaining in the game. The ball to the Minnesota 44-yard line. Chuck Goodrum is playing on the offensive line for the Vikes. I think we had Osborne in there for the first time, carrying the ball. Dave Osborne, the 9-year veteran from North Dakota, number 41. He got across the 45. 1:45 remaining in the game. Cowboys have 2 timeouts remaining. They're not inclined to employ them. They'd be kicking a dead dog if they did, Pat.
Just making it last a little longer.
Ed Marinaro is in there with Dave Osborne. My hat is off to Fran Tarkenton. We said earlier that you're not looking at a loser any longer. You're looking at a winner. And he has had a day today.
He's called an outstanding game.
Second down and 7. Osborne blows through for another first down. 1:10 remaining. Tackler Cliff Harris. They were rather deep in the running back department.
I'll say 5 good ones.
And the rookie Brent McClanahan you could also put in there. So Foreman, Reed, Marinaro, Brown, McClanahan, and Osborne give the Vikings a lot of depth. The clock is stopped with 1:03 left.
Dallas did take a timeout then. They have 1 remaining now. Chuck Foreman's had a very active day. He carried 20 times for 76 yards. The long gain of 20 yards. Tarkenton
has completed 10 out of 21. 1 interception. And the most spectacular play of the day, the long one to Gilliam. He could stand out there, Wayne, and throw the ball 50 times and not throw it like he did that one.
I think Pat had it really right when he said he just dropped back and threw it just as far as he could.
The Vikings are approaching the 300-yard mark. 186 yards running against Dallas and 101 through the air. It's 1st and 10 from the Dallas 45. There goes Osborne. Pat, we see this happen frequently at this stage of the game when the defense tries to tackle the football.
Many times it results in long gains like that. Dallas, as we mentioned, has 1 more timeout left. I doubt that they'll take it, particularly now with another first down by Minnesota.
The ball to the Dallas 30-yard line. Less than 40 seconds remaining. 1 more play, and that'll be it unless the Cowboys stop the clock. And the Vikings will head for the Super Bowl in Houston, which you'll see on CBS on the 13th of January. Houston in the winner of the Miami-Oakland game. Another first down for Minnesota. Osborne hangs onto the ball, and Gregory twists him down. Now there are 10 seconds left. And the Cowboys say, no, that's it. And the Vikings are the champions of the National Football Conference. 2 seconds, 1 second, it's all over. And 27-10 is the final score. Fran Tarkenton took his team to the division title. Then led the Vikings to the win over the Washington Redskins by 7 points last week. And another superb afternoon for the 13-year veteran from Georgia. Wayne Walker, any additional comments that we didn't make during the course of the action?
Well, you know, we get a little carried away. Things are working so well for the Vikings today. their precision, everything was really good, but I think we didn't point out that they really out-hit the Cowboys in every phase of the game. Whenever a ball was caught in their secondary, they were really laying the leather to people, and you really have to get back to the basics of football, and it is hustling and it is hitting, and they really hit today.
The Vikings came up with 21 first downs, and they went over 300 yards, 305 yards in total offense against the Dallas team, and you just know that they missed Bob Lilly and Greg Hill. But that doesn't detract from the accomplishment of the Minnesota team today.
Well, Calvin Hill being out of there certainly hurt the Cowboys, but as you said, you can't take anything away from Minnesota. I doubt it would have made a difference winning or losing the ball game had Calvin Hill been there because of the performance that the Vikings turned out today.
The first time they had the ball, they kept it for 9 minutes, and Fred Cox kicked a field goal. We have player interviews coming up, and I'm sure you'll enjoy hearing not only what the winners, the Vikings, have to say, but also the losers, the Cowboys. And our friend Jack Whitaker is down on the playing field.
Thank you very much, Jack Buck and Wayne Walker and Pat Summerall. You won't believe it, but the last Cowboy just a second ago went up this tunnel. They left this field very, very slowly, very reluctantly, and I think it took the Minnesota Vikings about 3 seconds for all of them to be up and whooping up in that winning dressing room where we'll be going in a moment. Another thing here, this big Texas stadium was almost half empty with about 2 minutes left to play here, as the fans in Dallas here had given up already on the Cowboys. We'll be talking with all the heroes, and there certainly were 22 of them at least on the Minnesota Vikings, and we'll have a word or two from the Cowboys too in just a moment. Brent Musburger is standing by, and we'll return to the winning dressing room here at the NFL Championship in just a moment.
Colt 45's blue plastic clean top carrier seals out anything that could mess up the top of your can. If unique is what you seek, Colt 45 malt liquor.
When the Dutch Masters tobacco buyer comes to Colombia, South America, he visits tobacco dealers like me, Lorenzo Hernandez, and he buys the top grades of tobacco we have to sell. Dutch Masters also buys the best grades of tobacco from Brazil, Puerto Rico, and Santo Domingo, as well as Colombia. Since Dutch Masters buys the best tobacco, they must make a very good cigar.
The final score here was 27-10. The Vikings over the Cowboys. The score here at halftime was 10-0. And the Cowboys missed so many chances that they'll be lamenting this day for a long time. Brent Musburger down in the dressing room of the winners.
And as you can imagine, Jack Buck, we have a very excited winners dressing room. This is Bobby Bryant, who today intercepted 2 of the passes thrown by Roger Staubach on my left. On my right, Jim Marshall. The defense of the Vikings absolutely overpowering again. And Bobby, tell me about that one interception. You really turned the game around. 68-yard return for a touchdown.
Well, I didn't realize it was 68 yards, but we went on zone coverage, and Bob Hayes just ran a breakout pattern, and I read his pattern. I was still about 5 or 10 yards off, and I looked at Staubach, and he was looking out, and he threw the ball, and I was able to get up and get it, and just clear sailing after that.
And you also set one up for Jeff Seaman besides the 2 that you intercepted.
Yes, that was kind of a lucky play, really. I hit the tight end. Staubach had thrown a pass to him, and the ball just deflected up. I didn't really see what happened. I'll have to see it in the movies, but Jeff did catch it, and it was a big interception for Jeff.
All right, Bobby, congratulations. And Jim, of course, when the Cowboys had a chance to get back in there and tie the game, you came around and were able to jar the ball loose. Perhaps you could describe that play for us.
Well, it was a pass play. I kind of felt at the time that they were definitely going to have to pass, so I took a gamble with a real hard outside rush, and fortunate enough to get around the offensive tackle and looked up, and there was the quarterback.
And, of course, the man who recovered it right here, Gary, come on up here on this platform with us, too. Not only did you recover that fumble after Jim spirited loose, but you also got the one down there by the goal line. So that's 2 fumbles for you in the second half, big guy.
Well, you have to give credit to the guy that hit him. I know Jim hit it, and the ball bounced right at my hands, and I'm not sure who hit the second one down on the goal line, but I heard a heck of a collision, and I looked up and the ball bounced right in my hands again. I mean, there's not much credit you can take for recalling when they come right to you like that.
You know, Bobby, coming into the game, the most celebrated Cowboy of all was Drew Pearson, and you were all over him a couple of times today, too.
Well, they did try to throw it to him a couple of times, and I was fortunate to be in the right place.
Tell us a little bit about this Viking team. Last week against Washington, you had a bad first half, and they tell us that Carl Eller had to come in and pick you guys up at halftime. You didn't need any of that incentive today, did you, Jim?
No, we didn't. No, we didn't. We knew exactly what we had to do today. We had to play the defensive line had to play an extremely aggressive defensive game, and we knew that we were going to have to play on their side of the line of scrimmage. They run a lot of play passes and things of that sort, and the best way to defend against them is by a very aggressive defense, and we were aggressive today.
Gary, any choice of who you prefer to play in the Super Bowl, Oakland or Miami?
Well, they asked me the same question last week, and I'll give you the same answer. I know one team that's going to be there. It's going to be the Minnesota Vikings. I don't care who shows up to take us on.
All right, and they also had some offensive stars, Fran Tarkenton and John Gilliam, and we'll be back with them at the winner's dressing room at the NFC Championships in just a moment.
Welcome to the penal colonnade of French Guiana, whose prisoners you are, and from which there is no escape.
Steve McQueen, Dustin Hoffman, Papillon, the greatest adventure of escape ever filmed. Rated PG.
It's a tough world. To stay on top, you gotta be fast. But sometimes I bite off more than I can chew. I get a real beauty. My head is pounding, my stomach is upset, and I feel achy. So I rest up and I take Alka-Seltzer. It's got specially buffered aspirin with antacids. If I don't feel better, I see the doctor. Because nothing I can get on my own works better than Alka-Seltzer. I know how to look out for myself.
With the score 10-7, these two gentlemen turned it around again for the Minnesota Vikings. Fran Tarkenton on my right with a 54-yard touchdown pass to John Gilliam. Beautiful pattern and a beautiful throw, John.
Thank you, Fran. I think you have to give Fran some credit because he threw a great ball, and we caught Cornell Green was taking away our crossing pattern. So Fran saw it, and he told me to beat him on the backside, and I just ran a good pattern.
You know, Pat Summerall and Wayne Walker were making the observations today that you were throwing on first down. You certainly weren't as scared of Mel Renfro as some teams had been in the past. You did some things that I don't think the Cowboys expected, Fran.
Well, our whole philosophy in these playoff games is not to try to keep from losing them, but to try to go out and win them. And that's what we've done these last 2 weeks, and we'll try to do in the big one in Houston. And that man right there has been the big man for our offense all year. John has had a super year, and I've never seen a better receiver than he is. I've never played with one, and he made his big play again today for us.
Twice in the first half, 4th and 1. Not scared to gamble, were you, Fran?
Well, that's Bud Grant's decision, and Bud Grant makes right decisions all the time. And if he'd have made a decision not to go, that would have been fine, too. But he thought we should, and we did, and we made it.
Francis, congratulations along with John Gilliam. And now, let's go across the way where Jack